こんにちは、皆さん。今日、私たちは、日本語を勉強しています。質問があれば、私に聞いてください。Greetings, everyone. Today we're studying Japanese. If you have any questions, then feel free to ask me at any time. We're going to continue with Immersion with Card Captor Sakura.
パパは海に来た思い出に僕のことを描きたいって一生懸命描いてくれた絵だったんだ。ママも一番好きな絵だって言ってる。
Let's see, Mama Mo. Let's see, Mama Mo Ichiban Ski na だって言ってる。So, ママも一番好きな、好きな絵だって言ってる。So, Mom also said she loved the paintings more than anyone else. Mom says it. Mom says it was her favorite picture. That's right. Is probably referring to painting singular. So the picture they were just talking about, they said, Mom also said it was her favorite picture. Like Ichiban's number one, and then so Ichiban ski, so number one, like essentially. Mama mo Ichiban ski na e datte iteru.
絵だったんだ。ママも一番好きな絵だって言ってる。なのに誰かがその上に落書きしたんだ。好きな絵だって言ってる。なのに
And yet, despite what is the origin of nanoni used by itself? The term nanoni used by itself is a clip form of sore nanoni, which means even so, nevertheless. So we have the no-ni structure, which implies, okay, we presented information in the front, and now we're going to say something that sounds kind of contradictory. And then the sorted is the information that was presented in the front. It means like that. So that, but, or that, nevertheless. So sore nanoni. And the na, I believe, is needed because sore is considered a why is not needed in sore nanoni? I heard you need it for na adjectives, but I don't think Sore is a non-adjective. So na is the attributive form of the copula da. It connects the demonstrated pronoun sore to the following particle no ni, which expresses that despite that or even so. Sore na means that is in a linking sentence. And no ni adds a contrastive nuance, literally meaning that being so yet or even though that is the case. The structure is not necessary because no ni requires a normalization or adjectival form before it. Now it provides the grammatical connection. Wait, the structure is necessary because no ni requires a normalized or adjectival form before it. I thought no and no ni was the normalization. Isn't no and no ni the normalization? Why do you need the not to do it? Okay, the na is in nanoni is required because it's the attributive form of da used to link nouns and adjectives to the following particle no ni. While no can normalize verbs and adjectives when preceding element is a noun or non-adjective, the attributive form must be used before no ni. This is grammatical rule specific. Okay, while no can normalize verbs and adjectives when preceding element is okay. While no can normalize verbs and adjectives when the preceding element is a noun or non-adjective. Okay, while no can normalize verbs and adjectives when the preceding element is a noun or non-adjective, the attributive na must be used before no ni. Let's see. Is this because na makes it end in a verb essentially, and no normalizes that verb? Yeah, because if you remember, na comes from naru, which comes from niaru. Is the reason why na no ni needs na in front, because na makes it in with a verb essentially, and no normalizes that verb. Right. Is the na in na no ni not the na adjective na? See, no, the na in na adjective is not the na adjective na. It's the abnominal form of the copula da. Okay, so da comes from de aru, and the na in na adjectives comes from ni aru. Both ended up being na, though, with all the contractions. The na is required because no, which follows, is normalized or that turns a preceding clause into a noun phrase. The fact that it is a dog, right? In Japanese grammar, when a clause ending in a noun or na adjective modifies another element like no, the copula da must change to the attributive form na. Therefore, inu da becomes inu na before inu na no ni, despite being a dog. Okay, so back to this. So in other words, na no ni. So in yet or despite that. So because we're introducing contrary information. Let's see. What did he actually end on before na no ni?
ママも一番好きな絵だって言ってる。なのに
Okay, so it's just like a set transition phrase that you can say by yourself.
誰かがその上に落書きしたんだ。誰かが
誰かがその上に something kishitanda
その上に落書きした。
akugaki. Let's see. Rakugaki. Suru verb. Scribble, graffiti, doodle, rakugaki. It comes from the grammar fall, drop, come down, village. Okay, and then write. So if you fall when you write something, you're essentially graffitiing something. You're making something fall when you write on it, I guess. Fall and write. And is this a word? Rakugaku. No, it's not. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if Ichi that Moe has that in the dictionary. No, it does not. So rakugaki is a pseudo verb, and then to make it into a verb, you have to turn that noun into a verb. You have to add sudo to it. So 誰かがその上に落書きしたんだ。I suspect he didn't mention the painting because it's obvious we're talking about that, but that would have been attached with woe, so basically saying they scribbled in ue above it. In other words, they scribbled on it. The parts I don't use, let's see. Mae, they use ue instead of mae. Someone drew all over it. Why does that, 誰かがその上に落書き 落書きしたんだ use ue instead of my depends on the physical or conceptual surface being referenced. Ue means on top of or on. It is used when the graffiti is applied to a surface, such as a wall, paper, building, or object. The preposition ni indicates the locations where the action takes place. Okay, therefore, sono ue ni really means on that surface. Mai means in front of. So you use sono mai ni, it would mean the graffiti was made in the space preceding the object, not on the object itself. Oh, okay, so that's why when you say it when you're in front of the door, you use mae. In this context, graffiti is the act involves marking the surface. Since the graffiti is physically located on the object rather than in front of it, ue is the correct directional particle to indicate the surface of contact. Mae would imply the writing is floating in the air before the object or on the ground before it, which contradicts the typical meaning of graffiti on an object. So, 誰かがその上に落書きしたんだ。
なのに誰かがその上に落書きしたんだ。僕とパパの大切な思い出の上にしたんだ。僕とパパの大切な思い
僕とパパの大切な思い出の上に So, I and Papa's most important memory, and then why is above there? So Papa and I's most important memory. Oh, I see. Right on top of a precious memory of Dad and me. Okay, so they're going back to the... So, the precious memories on top. Okay. Or on its surface. Okay, so that's why they're saying it like that. since we're still using the painting metaphor. Okay, so 僕とパパの大切な思い出の上に
のに誰かがその上に落書きしたんだ。僕とパパの大切な思い出の上に。ひどい、その気持ちわかるわ。ひどい、その気持ちわかるわ。たんだ、僕とパパの大切な思い出の上に。ひどい。
ひどい。その気持ちわかるわ。See, that's offer. I understand that emotion, or understand that feelings. Yeah, it's not emotion. Yeah, feelings is probably a better translation. That's right. That's awful. I understand that feeling. Cool, heartless, harsh. Heartless, okay, so maybe I guess heartless or cruel would probably be a better word for it. That's terrible, awful, cruel, heartless, okay, hidori. Yeah, this is supposed to be kimochi, as sono kimochi wakaru. So terrible, I understand that feeling. That's awful, I know exactly how you feel, okay.
大切な思い出の上に。ひどい、その気持ちわかるわ。私も自分の絵に落書きされた時すっごく悔しかったもん。
私も自分の上に私も自分の上に落書きされて時So, let's see. Then Sugoku. So, when I also had my own painting picture graffitied, so when I also had my own picture graffitied, Sugoku. Kuyashi, frustrated. So, kuyashikatta mode. So when I also had my own painting graffitied, Sugoku, extremely okay. So I felt very frustrated. So, 私も自分の絵に落書きされて時、すごく悔しい。そう、悔しかったもん。そう、私も自分の絵に落書きされて時、すごく悔しい。悔しかったもん。そう、私も自分の絵に落書きされて時、すごく悔しかったもん。Or when I had my own picture graffitied, I felt very frustrated. Let's see. And the translator says, I was also upset when someone drew on my drawing, too.
ひどい。その気持ちわかるわ。私も自分の絵に落書きされた時すっごく悔しかったもん。ゆうきくん、私たちも手伝うわ。だもん。ゆうきくん、私たちも手伝う。
Yuki-kun, watashi tachi mo tetsudau wa. So Yuki-kun, will help. Yuki-kun will help fix this. Tetsudao, okay. To help, to assist, to aid. Yuki-kun, watashi tachi mo tetsudau wa.
だもん。ゆうきくん、私たちも手伝うわ。いらない。僕一人でできるもん。
Iranai, not needed. Yeah, that word's from, let's see. I believe it's there's an iru to exist. I believe there's also an iru to need, but the iru to need is a go down verb, so it conjugates as iranai. Boku hitotsu de dekiru mo, so not needed. I will I'm able to do it myself. Oh, not hitotsu. That's right. Hitotsu is for one item. This is one person, so hitori. That's right. Iranai boku hitori de dekiru mon. So no thanks, I can do it myself. Now here's the iru right here. To be needed.
すっごく悔しかったもん。ゆうきくん、私たちも手伝うわ。いらない。僕一人でできるもん。なんやで、人がせっかく
Nanya te 人がせっかくwith trouble, great pains, rare, valuable, precious, long-awaited, kind, generous. 人がせっかくなんやってなんやって What did you say? We were just about to... How do you get that from hito sekaku? Let's see. Explain the grammar of... The phrase not nanyate is the Kansai expression meaning what did you say? Oh, that's right. This te is the quoting te. But I guess in Kansai Ben they don't do the su te within saying it. Often used to express shock, surprise, or indignation at something you just heard. Nanya is Kansai dialect for nan plus ya, which is da, and te a question particle dialect variant of ka or sute. Wait, sute isn't a question. The word sekkaku means with good intentions or carefully prepared or precious opportunity not to be wasted. It implies an effort or situation was valued or intended for a positive purpose. So when combined, nanyate hito ga sekkaku, or more naturally, nanyate sekkaku, followed by a verb, it expresses a strong surprise or frustration that someone is wasting a valuable opportunity or ignoring careful preparation. Carefully prepared, good intentions. With trouble, yeah, at great pains, precious, long awaited, kind, generous. I think kind, generous might be the best way to think of it. Isn't the sute a quoting? Sute for quoting and not like a question particle ka? You're correct. The sute is primarily a quoting particle often used for hearsay or casual quotation. In concept dialect, however, nanyate is a phonetic evolution of nan dato or nan da tote, where te functions as a sentence-ending particle expressing surprise or indignation, not the quoting sute. Nanya, kansai copula plus te, strong exclamatory particle. This te is distinct from the quoting sute. In kansai ben, te can be used to emphasize a statement or question, similar to da or ka in standard Japanese, but with a rougher, more emotional tone. For example, in the search results sentence, ameyate means it's going to rain, with surprise, not it says it's going to rain. Ameyate. The te here is exclamatory particle, not a quotative one. So let's look up this non-tote. Nanya tote. Even explain the origin of tote. The particle tote is composed of the quotative particle to and the conjunction particle te. It originates in classical Japanese as a result of omitting a quotative verb in the rin yoke conjugated forms such as te after after quoting ending until structural wait. It originates in classical Japanese as a result of omitting the quotative verb in the rin-yoke. What is the conjunctive form? Rin-yoke, also known as the continuative or conjunctive form. Oh, so that te was originally part of the verb, but you just dropped the verb and just left the te. So that te and tote was the te form of a verb. Let's see, it's commonly used in verbs like omo, thank you, to say, in kiku, to hear, to indicate the reason or motive behind an action, effectively meaning thinking that because, okay. Modern evolution. In modern Japanese, it survives primarily in formal or literary expressions of koto tote, which is used to justify an outcome or present a reason as unavoidable. The casual particle sute is also etymologically linked, derived from the contraction of tote. How is tote a replacement to the question particle ka? The particle tote in nanyate is not a replacement for the question particle ka. Instead, nanyate is a constant dialect contraction of the phonetic evolution of nan da to, or nan de aruto, where te functions as a sense-same particle expressing strong emotions such as surprise, anger, or indignation. In kansai-ben, te is often a sentence. Te at the end of a sentence can serve as an exclamatory or a function. Okay. Oh, in other words, so they're just basically saying te is like an exclamatory, and then this is basically a casual question where you say something like nanda, but you use your tone to indicate it's a question. You don't bother putting the ka on it. It's just a casual question. But in kansai ben, they use ya for the copula, so they say nanya, and then for emphasis they say nanya te, and then they eventually just yeah, nanya te. Okay, so wait, didn't you say it came from nan yatote and not nan nanda? Right, you're right to question that my previous explanation was incorrect. Based on the search, nanya te is not derived from nanya tote. It is a Kansai dialect contraction of non da to. Okay. How is non da to a replacement of ka? So anyway, this basically means something like, what did you say? Okay, so in other words, what did you say? A person putting out effort, and then he gets cut off after that. Nanyate hito ga sekaku, and then he's like, eh? Because he hears something strange.
私たちも手伝うわ。いらない。僕一人でできるもん。なんやて人がせっかくおる。腹話術や。ね。人がせっかくおる。腹話術や。
Fuku wa jutsuyo, or ventriloquism. Fuku wa jutsuyo. Okay, fuku wa jutsuyo. So abdomen, talk, and art. So fuku wa jutsu. Fuku wa jutsu. Fuku wa jutsu yo ne.
いるもん。なんやて人がせっかくおる。腹話術や。ね。そんなこと言わんと一緒に行こうや。
そんなこと言わんと. So it's probably iwanai. So sonakoto, that kind of thing. I suspect there's supposed to be a quotative toe in here, but it just I got dropped because it was obvious. Sonakoto, yeah, otherwise it would sound like Sonakoto to Iwanto. So, in other words, not say that kind of thing. So don't say that type of thing, but then what would be Toby after it? Let's see, Isho ni iko ya. We should go together. Don't say that, let's go together. So, why is the toe after E1 in Sonakoto E1 to Isho ni Ikoya. The particle to functions as a let's see. The particle to functions as a quotative marker indicating that the content of the speech rather than a conjunction meaning and. Wait, but it's in the wrong location to be a quotative marker. Let's see. The structure of verb stem plus to is a common colloquial pattern, particularly in Kansai dialect and informal speech, where to introduces what was said or thought. It effectively means saying verb. Saying verb or that verb contraction. Iwan to is a contraction of iwanaide or iranaide or iwazuni, which means without saying. So iwanaide, don't say, or iwazuni, in a manner of not, in a not saying kind of manner, aka without saying. Okay, when combined with to, it creates a nuance of without saying that kind of thing. The entire clause sonakoto iwanto translates to without saying such a thing or don't say such a thing. It connects the subsequent request isho ni ikoya, let's go together, by providing a condition or manner. Let's go together without saying things like that. The usage of to after the negative verb iwan is distinct from its use with the noun to mean and or positive verbs to indicate inevitability. Here, it specifically marks the quoted content of the negative command. Wouldn't the to have to be before the E1 then? No, the particle to comes after the negative verb form E1 because it functions as a quoted particle, not a conjunction. Okay, because it functions as a quotative particle, not a conjunction. The structure negative verb plus to is a common pattern, especially in Kansai dialect and informal speech, meaning without doing verb or don't do verb. Here's the okay. Iwan is a contraction of iwanai. Okay. The quotative particle to attaches to the entire preceding clause Iwan to mark it as the content of the speech or thought. It effectively quotes the phrase don't say that. So Iwanto means without saying or don't say. Isn't Sonna Koto the phrase being quoted? You're correct. The entire phrase, Sonakoto Iwan, don't say such thing, is being quoted by the particle to. The structure works as follows. Sonakoto, such a thing, is the object, okay, of the verb Iwan. Together, Sonakoto Iwan forms a complex clause meaning won't say such a thing or don't say such a thing. The quotative particle to attaches to the end of the entire clause to quoted. It marks the preceding words as the content of the advice or command being given. Okay, the quote clause then functions as a adverbial phrase modifying the verb "iko," let's go, meaning let's go together without saying such a thing, or let's go together. Okay. So to is not quoting just Sonakoto, it's quoting the complete idea expressed by Sonakoto Iwan. With verbs like you, doesn't it usually quote like Sonakoto to Iwanai or Iwan? That's just strange because usually the EU is the verb acting on the quote. I've never seen EU in the quote itself. Let's see, with verbs like EU, doesn't it usually quote Sonakoto Toiwan? Why is it quoting Sonakoto Iwan? Okay. Why is it quoting that? Let's see, the to is required to mark the boundary of the quoted content. Okay, in the phrase Sonakoto Toiwan, to explicitly signals that Sonakoto, such a thing, is the content being quoted or referenced by the verb Iwan, a classical literary form of to say or do. Without to, the phrase Sonakoto Iwan would grammatically oh, why is it quoting Sonakoto Iwan in Sonakoto Iwan to? Okay, the confusion arises from a misunderstanding of grammatical structure. Sonakoto Iwan is the quoted content itself, uh, not the verb performing the quotation. Sonakoto Iwan to. Okay, Sonakoto Iwan is the quoted statement. It's a colloquial dialectal contraction of Sonakoto Iwan is the quoted statement. It's a colloquial or dialectal contraction of Sonakoto Iwanai, meaning don't say such a thing. Okay. The verb inside the verb inside the quote is the plain form, specifically the negative volutional or negative imperative form, which is required for quotation. To is the quotation particle that marks the end of the quote. Okay. The verb that follows to, which might be omitted in casual speech or implied, is the actual action verb, such as eu to say or mo to think, or eu to think. Therefore, the structure is sonakoto iwan to plus implied contextual verb. Okay, you are not quoting sonakoto. Okay, which would mean don't say such a thing. Okay, what does it mean when sonakoto iwan? So what is the difference when sonakoto iwan is the complete quote instead of sonakoto? The difference lies in the content and nuance of the quote. Sonakoto's noun phrase means such a thing. When quoted with to, it only refers to the general idea of a topic being discussed. The actual words said or thoughts are not specified. Okay. Like you, omo, kiku. Okay. So sonakoto iwan is a complete colloquial sentence contraction of sonakoto iwanai. Okay, won't say such a thing. Okay. When quoted with to, it reports the exact words or the full thought that express. Example: Kare wa sonakoto iwan to ita. He said, I won't say such a thing. The focus. Okay. Kare wa sonakoto iwan to ita. So he said, I won't say such a thing. So the quote is about saying itself, essentially. So you're quoting someone talking about saying something. What does this mean in the context of the ESV So after E1 a quoting toe in this phrase. The toe after E1 is not a quoting particle. Okay, it is a negative. The problem with AI, it doesn't half understand things, but at least it can find things quickly. It's a negative conditional conjunctive particle that is part of the verb negative conditional conjunct. Okay, E1 is the negative plain form. Okay, of Iru. Okay, in many Japanese dialects, particularly Kansai, indicates by casual endings. Okay, yeah. To in this context connects the negative verb to the following clause. Meaning, if you don't say, or unless you say the full sentence, if you don't say something like that, okay. Is there a quoting particle dropped after koto? No, there's koto is a normalizer. It turns the preceding phrase sono into a noun meaning such a thing. So sonakoto is a complete noun phrase on its own. It does not require a quotative particle like to. You can use E1 without a quoting particle. Yes, you can use E1 without a quoting particle. In the sentence sonakoto E1 to isho ni iko. Yeah, okay, E1 is a negative form. Okay, for you to say the contraction is commonly used in casual speech in dialects like Kansai Ben. Okay. Iwanto means if you don't say the entire phrase translates to if you don't say something like that, let's go together. Well, with not saying something like that, let's go together. Let's see. Is to replacing de in Sunokoto Iwan to Ishoni? No, to in Iwanto is not replacing de. In the context I like to, the okay, from the night, and the to functions as a conditional particle equivalent to nakereba or naide in standard Japanese. So each degree then the to is acting as a replacement for de in ないで。Yes, okay. In concept dialect, to and iwanto functions similar to naide, effectively replacing the standard Japanese naide or nakute to mean without doing, or if not doing. Standard Japanese, sonakoto iwanai de isho ni iko. Kansei, sonakoto iwanto isho ni iko ya. Both sentence means let's go together without saying something like that. Or in other words, don't say that. Let's go together. Okay, so essentially you can sort of use to as replacement to de and the de that's a nai de in kansai ben. Sono koto iwanto isho ni iko ya.
腹話術よね、そんなこと言わんと一緒に行こうや。好きにすれば。でも邪魔はしないでね。
好きにすれば with liking, so to do, let's see, to do in a like way. So if you like, so okay, so in other words, if you like, so demo, but something wa shinai de, don't.
術よね、そんなこと言わんと一緒に行こうや。好きにすれば。でも邪魔はしないで。
Jama. I've heard that word before. Jama. Hindrance, obstacle, nuisance, made from the kanjis of wicked, injustice, wrong, and in which demon, evil spirit. And if you're wondering why that kanji is used to make the word for hindrance, I suspect it came from a belief that hindrances in life came from evil spirits. See, Yokoshima, wicked evil. Okay. So, Suki ni sureba, demo, jama wa shinai de ne. So, if you like, but don't be a hindrance.
せっかく腹話術よね、そんなこと言わんと一緒に行こうや。好きにすれば。でも邪魔はしないでね。スカンガキや。
Skan Skangakia. Skangakia. And her ski is like, but that's considered a keidoshi or non-adjective, so you can't just conjugate it. Can you? I don't like, I hate it. Kyushu dialect. And then what is this gaki? Brat, kid, urchin, little devil, preta, hungry ghost. Okay, how does the same... How does gaki mean both brat and hungry ghost? Gaki carries both meanings because the slang term for brat is a derogatory extension of the Buddhist concept of hungry ghost. Original meaning in Buddhist cosmology, gaki refers to a preto, a hungry ghost, a tormented spirit cursed with insatiable hunger and thirst as punishment for greed and jealousy in past lives. Semantic shift: the slang meaning of brat or ill-behaved child evolved by metaphorically comparing a spoiled, demanding, and insatiable child to an insatiable hunger of the hungry ghost. So basically, a brat constantly wanting things is similar to the hungry ghost wanting things. So okay. So while gaki is commonly written in kana when referring to children, it retains the original kanji and religious meaning when discussing Buddhist mythology or folklore. Gaki. And then explain the grammar of Skangakia. Learn the grammar of alts. The phrase Skangaki as dialect expression likely in the Kansai region such as Osaka and Kyoto that roughly translates to you unlikable brat. You kid who is hard to deal with. It is not standard Japanese and relies on specific grammatical features of Western Japanese. Okay, dialect. Oh, is this Hokan, not Skan? Oh, konnichiwa, Ariel 5878, Genki desu ka? See, I only just joined, but the previous scene that the characters said they're going to do things on their own. So she's saying, don't say that, let's go together. I don't even think it's a quote, it's just a colloquial shortening of iwa naide. Typical grammar rules for standard Japanese don't apply, I think. It is not used as hungry ghost. See, Genki dayo. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, thank you for mentioning that. That's when I eventually figured out that the to is basically being used like the de in naide. Okay, so what is he saying here?
一緒に行こうや。好きにすれば。でも邪魔はしないでね。スカンガキや。
So you're saying scan, okay, so see standard Japanese ski janai. Okay, dialect form. In many consonant dialects, the negative form of verbs ending in ku, like suku's a verb? I didn't think. Let's see, is suku a verb? Oh, yes, it is. To like, to love. Okay. Yeah, okay. Verbs ended in suku becomes kan. So suku, sukanu, which is an older way of putting verbs into the negative, and then sukanu becomes skan. Does not like. Okay, so this is actually based off of the verb suku and not based off of ski, the na adjective. Though I believe the na adjective was based off the verb suku as well. So to not like and then brat. So in other words, unlikable brat. Skangaki, yeah. The little line thing doesn't talk in standard Japanese, so it's going to be hard to apply typical grammar rules. It's saying unlikable brat. Yes, this show has been very good at teaching the rules of Kansai Ben, essentially. So, Skangaki, yeah.
でも邪魔はしないでね。スカンガキや。思ったより時間を取られましたわ。
Omota yori, 時間を取られましたわ。So, this is from toru, or to take, but this isn't torareru, so receptive, so received taking, and then polite form toraremashita, okay. Then omotta yori, so I think that's like less than thought time. See, less than thought time was received taking. So the time was taken. Let's see, the ga wa noun is attached to the receive part, and then the take is attached to the let's see. It took longer than I expected. So less than thought time. Let's see if you say if you say orange ga pan yori ski dash, you're saying you like oranges more than apples. So here, omota yori, you're saying the thought was less than something. Thought less than something time. So if the thought was less, then that's basically like in English saying that it took more time than you thought. Because what you thought was less than the amount of time it actually ended up taking. Okay. Explain the grammar of past to think or to think or to expect. The X is modifier with the comparison that follows yoru, a particle meaning than, used to indicate omota yoru, literally means than what was thought. So jikan, so time, so then what was thought time, and will the object particle marking the time as the thing that was consumed or taken. So torare remashita. This is passive polite form of verb toru take. Passive form to be taken. In this context, it implies the speaker was subject to an action of time being taken, often implying an inconvenience or external cause. Okay. So, umota yori jikan wo torarimashita wa. So I guess what would be the noun in this sentence? If this was a conversation that took too long, what would be the dot marked noun? Okay, if the conversation itself took too long, the dot marked noun would be kaiwa or hanashi, meaning conversation. So kaiwa ga umota yori jikan wo toraremashita wa, meaning the conversation took more time than I thought. So the see if kaiwa is the noun, then shouldn't it be tora se mashita instead? See, if kaiwa is noun, then shouldn't be tora semashita instead. No, tora semashita would not be correct. Tora semashita, causative form, would mean I made the conversation take time, which is illogical. The conversation is not an agent that can be made to perform an action. The original sentence, Omota yori Chikano torare mashita, uses the passive voice. Okay. This correctly means I had more time taken from me than I thought. Okay, so then wouldn't the ga be watashi, not kaiwa? Let's see. Well, I was made to spend more time. The passive voice is appropriate here because the speaker is the recipient of the action of the time consumption, not initiating it. The conversation is the cause of the time being taken, not doer of the taking. Then wouldn't ga have watashi in front of it? No, watashi would not be marked with ga in front of this sentence. In passive construction, omota yori jikan o torare mashita. Ga marked noun is jikan. Okay. Wait. No, jikan is marked by wo. See, jikan ga torareta means time was taken. Watashi is the experience or the recipient of the action. Japanese past force, the experience is typically marked with wa as the topic, not ga as the subject. Okay. Isn't the ga marked noun the one that experiences the taking? Experiences the taking. No, the ga marked noun is not the one that experiences the taking. It is the in the passive sentence. Blah. The ga marked noun is jikan time. Okay, but no, that's not true. Jikan is marked with wo and not ga. In this sentence, pecan is marked by wool. Is it correct that wa that the wa is marked by that the wa marks watashi? What does the ga mark? Wool marks jikan as a direct object of the verb. Okay. The particle wa marks watashi as the topic of the sentence, indicating that the speaker is the entity experiencing the action. even though I is not explicitly written in the phrase. Okay. The ga particle in this context marks umota, thought, as the subject of the relative clause modifying more than expected. Specifically, oh, that's right. I guess. Wait, can Yori replace ga? So what was thought? See, omota is the past tense to think acting. Okay. Jikan will marks the time as the object being taken. Yori means then. Okay. Ga. Okay. Marks watashi I as the subject of thought within the relative clause. Okay, now it's saying wa is the ga. So more than I thought. More than I thought time. Let's see. Time received being taken. So anyway. Let's see. Opposite. More time was taken than she thought. Yori is added to express that. Okay. Good luck with learning. Okay. Thanks for watching. Okay. Okay, so omota yori jikan will oh, I see. Omota yori is just describing the jikan, the time that's being taken. So time was taken, and it was taken from them. So they're the ones that received the taking. They're the ones that received the taking of the time. Okay, so yeah, ga would be like watashi tachi then. Okay, I see now. So omota yori, is that just a clause that is omota yori a clause that only describes the con, or is it part of the entire sentence? And let's see. A multi-yori is a sentence-level modifier that describes the entire proposition or the degree of the main actor, not just the word jikan. In the sentence, a multi-yori jikan ga toraremashita. It was taking more time than I thought. It took more time than I expected. The phrase functioned as an adverbial modifier for the duration. It modifies the extent to which the action taking time exceeds expectations. While it is placed directly before jikan, it semantically relates the verb to the verb phrase jikan or tori, to take time, or the state of being taken by time, rather than servicing as a standalone clause describing the noun time. So yori is considered a particle. You see that Kiradali video talking about yori, hodo, and things like that again. So, umotta yori jikan wo toraremashita wa?
スカンガキや。思ったより時間を取られましたわ。急ぎましょう。
Isogimashou? Yes. Or isogimashou. Shall we go quickly, or let's go quickly? Isogi, haste. This is from Isogu. Isogu. To hurry, so let's hurry. Okay. Isogimashou.
ね。スカンガキや。思ったより時間を取られましたわ。急ぎましょう。ゆうきくんの前じゃ魔法使えないよ。ゆうきくんの
Yuki-kun no mae. Yuki-kun no mae ja. Jama tsukaenai yo. Let's see. Skau, yeah, so tsukaenai. Tsukaenai. Yuki-kun no mae, so as for Yuki-kun in front of us, Jama, hindrance. So to use, not possible. Oh, so that's Maho, isn't it?
Yuki-kunの前じゃ魔法使えないよ。ゆうきくんの前じゃ魔法使えないよ。
So Yuki-kun no mae ja maho tsukaenai yo. So with Yuki-kun in front of us, I'm not able to use my magic. Maho, okay. Jama. Let's see, Jama. reference. Here's the kanji for Jama, okay, and here's the kanji for Maho.
Yuki くんの前じゃ魔法使えないよ。脅かしても聞かへんしな。Yuki くんの前じゃ魔法使えないよ。脅かしても聞かへん。
Otokashite shitemo something kahen shina. Let's see. Odokashite. Odokasu, to threaten, to menace, to intimidate. Kika. Kiku, from Kiku, yeah. Kikahin, so to be effective. Kikahin. To work, to function well, to be possible. To take effect, to be good, for. To work, to function well. So not functioning well. Odokasu. So as for threatening, not functioning well, and then Shina. Is this may be the logical reasoning, she? Oh, as for threatening, it doesn't function. In other words, threatening doesn't function him. In other words, you can't threaten him. Just try to solve this issue. Threats don't work on him anyway. See, odokashi shitemo hikahen shina. Or I should say in standard Japanese, kikanai. See, odokashite mo kikahen shina.
Yuki くんの前じゃ魔法使えないよ。脅かしても聞かへんしな。私が話しかけますから、その隙に。
Watashi ga hanashi kakemasu kara. Hanashi kakemasu. Oh, that is start a conversation. So, let's see. I start a conversation, then from that, yeah, when you take hanasu and you then attach kakeru to mean, it means like to begin something. See, Suki. Oh, any question? Any questions so far? Okay, so Suki, gap opening room. Sono Suki ni. Oh, in other words, I'll start our conversation for the purpose of a gap. I guess this is the purpose ni. Let's see, there's the purpose ni and explain in English. Sono Suki ni at the opportunity or during that opening. Oh, so it's the time ni. So I'll start talking to him, and then during that opening. So, 私は話しかけますから、その好きにね. So in other words, I'll start talking to him, and during that opening,
貸しても聞かへんしな。私が話しかけますから、その隙にね。この絵ですね。
この絵ですね. That painting.
サイレントに間違いないで。
silent に間違いないで. So, let's see, Chigao is, let's see, Chigao is to differ or mistake. Machigao is mistake in a moment of time. So in other words, saying wrong, and so michigai nai de is like saying I'm not wrong, but why is it said in nai de though? So I'm not wrong with silent. It's definitely silent. Machigai nai, certain, sure, no doubt. Okay, so this isn't the de as in giving a command. This is the de as in the kansai exclamatory marker. Machigai nai. It's machigao. To be mistaken. So different for the period of time is to be mistaken. So use the de and サイレントに間違いないで。The 関西弁 exclamatory marker. Yes, the de and the phrase functions as the Kansai dialect's exclamatory or emphatic marker equivalent to the standard Japanese yo or ne. In Kansai dialect, de is often attached to the end of a sentence to emphasize a statement, assert information, or seek agreement, similar to yo used in standard Japanese. So in other words, I'm not wrong with it being silent. Okay. Silent to machigai nai de.
この絵ですね。サイレントに間違いないで。いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。油絵。この絵ですね。サイレントに間違いないで。いたずらのところ。
いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。So let's see. いたずら。Mischief prank. So mischief or prank location. Then Mara still new. Mischief location or place still new. Oh, the prank part is still new. What does that mean? Translate. What does that mean? The tokoro here refers to a specific facet or characteristic of something. Still new adds explanatory emphasis. Right, this implies that prank part is still new. Iたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。
サイレントに間違いないで。いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。油絵だからそっとやれば剥がせると思う。
油絵だからそっとやれば Aburae, oil painting. Aburae da kara soto. Softly, gently, quietly, lightly, stealthily, okay. Soto yareba, yaru, to do. So yareba, if you do. So gently, if you do. To leave alone, to leave as it is, okay. Heiga seru. Heiga seru, to tear off, to peel off, to rip off, to strip off. To divest of. So, soto. Okay, so this is from the pseudo verb to leave alone. So if you do leaving alone, heiga seru. Oh, this is from ha. This is head, but this is ha. Let's see. Ha got if to cause to tear off. Since it's an oil painting, I think you can peel it off if you're gentle. Aburae. Picture drying oil fat. Oh, so picture plus oil makes oil paint. Well, oil painting. Aburae. Oh, I wonder if he's using a yaru because he's saying it's going to be a great effort, so he's not using sudo like you would normally use with an adverb like soto. So if you do gently, you can cause it to peel off. So since it's an oil painting, if you do gently, you can cause it to tear off. In order, since it's an oil painting, if you do it gently, you can cause it to tear off. So in other words, since it's an oil painting, I think you can peel it off if you're gentle. Now, is she saying he or ha?
いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。油絵だからそっとやれば剥がせると思う。まだ新しいんだ。油絵だからそっとやれば剥がせると思う。いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。油絵だからそっとやれば剥がせると思う。いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。油絵だからそっとやれば剥がせると思う。
Or soto.
この絵ですね。サイレントに間違いないで。いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。油絵だからそっとやれば剥がせると思う。
Hagaseru sounds like he's saying, okay. Which is consistent with the vocab word, okay. So this should be aburai dakara soto yareba 剥がせると思う。
いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。油絵だからそっとやれば剥がせると思う。
質問がありますか? Are there any questions?
いたずらのところはまだ新しいんだ。油絵だからそっとやれば剥がせると思う。
So if there's no questions when I raid, so please stick around for that. Let's see, this is so it's an oil painting. So if you're gentle, you can cause it to. I think you can cause it to tear off. So it's an oil painting. So I think you can cause it to tear off if you're gentle. Or aburai. Okay, aburae. だから外やれば剥がせると思う。そう。剥がせる。Okay. 油絵だから外やれば剥がせると思う。See who to rate. We're gonna raid Kanade for the first raid. She's playing some Pokemon game. Okay, we're also gonna raid We're gonna raid Dr. Disrespect, who's playing Apex Legends. Trying to find someone for that last raid. Okay, we're gonna raid Calistrix, who's playing Star Citizens. So, 皆さんお気をつけて、また明日。Goodbye now. See you tomorrow.